You are also the winner of the Idea Hub 12.0 Lagos Innovates. Before we get into all of this business around eggs and what you're doing differently, tell us the experience of being a winner of Idea Hub 12.0, the Lagos Innovates.
Um, I am very very grateful to the LSTFM agency, that is the Lagos Employment Trust Fund. Um, it was an we call it an accelerator program, Lagos Innovates, where we had to go through several trainings in business management, startup management, and all of that. And then at the end of the day, we had to compete during the demo day, and then we emerged because one of the things that was said about us was the fact that we are dealing with a problem that resonates with every Nigerian, basically, right? So that was the core reason why we emerged winner, and that has been a very fantastic platform that has enabled us to network and also drive a lot of partnerships that are flooding in as of today. So it was a very massive opportunity, and we are very grateful for that opportunity by LSTF.
I'm glad you were a part of that, and I'm glad you're preaching, the good news that is the Lagos Innovates. Now, let's talk about your activities, your interest as a food security enthusiast, and what your own little corner, what you've been able to do, and I want you to very quickly relate it because of time to this reality around the growing economic hardship in that is pushing eggs, what we once considered as the cheapest source of protein. Man, for there was a time you could buy egg for 30 naira. Right now it's going for as high as 350, and some who maybe come with some level of packaging can easily sell egg to you for 500 and you will not even complain. How did you get here? You're a food security expert. Help us. Say something about it. Is it not bothering you? Because I'm bothered.
I think that's why we're here, basically, and that is what's driving our mission, right? I always like to start as this is, will I say, when a certain consign is being neglected. This is something that government should have seen, had a foresight on, and then drive a system to ensure we don't get to where we are today, right? And this is not just a thing we need to say that, oh, this is what is happening. The impact is crazy because if young kids can't access nutrition as like egg, we can't afford that. What's that, nutritional access with these kids have? You can imagine the mental development, the immunity that these kids are going to have when they miss this basic requirement. So it's a very huge concern. It's a very huge concern. And before we leap into that, we need to look at the fundamentals. What is really going on? Government, what are we really missing out? What we're missing out is, driving to the realities of farmers. For crying out loud, without farmers, there's no nation, right? If you don't eat, you won't sit here today, right? I've been in community where tech guys are, and everybody's focusing on how we need to be the solution in dollars and all of that. I said one day you have dollars in your account and you go into the market, you won't find food and you'll be disoriented. Do you understand? So what is going on? Farming ecosystem is having a lot of crisis, right? In terms of inflation, in terms of access to basic inputs, right? Controls around breeds. Government needs to niche into those cracks and really resolve things, right? And this reminds me about one of the program we attended at Ogun State, the Nexus, where stakeholders have to come together to cry about the pain, right, that is really going on. Government really need to engage quickly. This is food security, for heaven's sake. We need to engage, and what we are trying to do differently is because we have played in this ecosystem.
Right.
I'm not just coming up to say I have an idea, I want to drive this. I felt the pain as well. A farmer who is trying to come up, I study agriculture, so I'm very passionate about agriculture. I left the oil and gas and went full time into agriculture, and I set
So
up my
some have
farm.
said that agriculture is supposed to be our new oil and gas now.
Yes, Yes, of course, and that's the strength for for Africa and Nigeria, right? So I delved into that, and then I started building, and I was able to pull my management skills into play, and we were growing at a very fast pace. But one thing I didn't realize was you can produce well. We were as detailed as even the volume of water a bird drinks per day. We know we are accountable, right? Because that is actually data. It tells you the health status of your flock, right? We were that critical, we were that critical and accountable, but yet we still had an issue. So you could produce fantastic, very well, but at the end of the day, if you don't sell well, right, the market structure is in chaos. There is a lot of slave, master and slave kind of situation, right? Farmers will produce, the middleman detects what you sell, right? And then at the end of the day, a farmer is struggling to make 50 naira per kg, and the middleman is making as much as 500 naira, above 20%, 30%.
So you feel away from all of the realities, the crunch realities of inflation and all of those things, they are man-made problems as well. Is it people who are bringing produce direct from the farm? They are bringing them to the roadsides, and this is an experience I have usually when I do road trips, across different states, maybe into south or southeast, for instance. And you get to all of these areas where you have farm markets, and you see some women who have collected produce from the farmers themselves, and they collect at a different rates and they sell at exorbitant rates. This is just within the village. It has not even gotten to the urban areas. So you can imagine what happens when it gets to the urban area.
It happens in every segment of the agricultural ecosystem, right? I at some point I tried going into greenhouse production, and I felt, oh, the same issue I'm facing is so I had to pull out, right? So what are we doing differently at Cubeseed? What we're trying to do now is to structure the market, right? If the farmer, the farmer has adjusted his lifestyle to produce, has acquired certain skills to produce. If you understand the reality of a farmer should not stress to sell, because there's a lot of hard work, months being put into producing. Why should I go through that and still be active? And guess what? A lot of farmers can be active in the market all the time,
Right.
and that is why the middlemen play a very significant role. They are consistently in the market, understanding where the demand is, understanding where the product is. And of course, the big guys who we buy in the city does not have that access to even connect with the farmers, because they are all scattered abroad, right? They are scattered. So that's where the middleman becomes very powerful. They become the detector in the value chain. And so that's why we experience multiple price hike, right? And final consumer bears the pain,
Right.
of paying very high for very little, and even poor quality at the end of the day. So what we're trying to do is to sever all of that, right? On our marketplace, farmers can sign up, list their products, of course, not just in small quantity. You need to offtake the entire product. Like, farmers need to sell in large volume so that they can keep operating.
Is there a quantity? Can you quantify this?
Sure. Okay. Now, on our live platform, we do minimum of 1 ton, right? Minimum. That's about 100 bags of chicken, which is 10 kg, right?
Specific products now. You want to get into the specifics of the products that you have on your marketplace?
Yeah. So we are focused strictly on proteins, everything proteins, livestock protein, right? Not the crop proteins, right?
Alright.
So what we're trying to do is to ensure that farmers have that exposure, market exposure. And also, another important thing we're doing is we are driving data. When we are able to aggregate all of these farmers, they have access to finance, they have access to government policies directly, because they have the active players, being, accessible on our platform. Now, with that, big players can project and plan their consumption or purchasing or procurement cycles.
Alright.
Do you understand? And they can plan, they have clarity on what is going on, and then you can have stakeholders come on board based on data to reach certain agreement, and it gives government better visibility. That's what we're trying to do. A lot of us, livestock and farmers association, have not been able to pull this off, but we feel that if we are able to structure the market, then things can now organize organically. Do you understand? Now, when we pull all of this, we can now go to, okay, because we are not accurately saying that, price of things is going to drop immediately, but that data will give us that empowerment to negotiate with stakeholders, with the feed guys. Okay, we are giving you 10,000 farmers who will demand XYZ volume of your product. Can we, have discounts? Do you understand? Because if one single farmer can negotiate that.
So what you've done now is you've created a digital marketplace
Marketplace.
where a farmer can come through, own a spot, and sell in large quantity
Yes.
to big time players in the
Yes,
industry. I'm
yes.
talking about big time
Restaurants, hotels, cold
and
room
all of-
operators.
and it is real time. You can see the things you want to
Yes,
buy. You can
yes.
see the history of the person
Yes.
selling, and also the farmer can see the credibility of the person.
Fantastic.
And so
Got that.
that's where you queried the middleman. You've been able to remove that middleman barrier
Yes.
from it.